pull this over here. Hey everyone, this is Angelo, and today is episode 6. It is Tuesday, actually, on June 29th, 2021, and we're continuing on step by step on how do we create a community, and we're starting with the planning. And I should say that we are doing sort of the phase of plan, do, check, act, which is the PDCA loop. So we're going to plan out our community, we're going to then start rolling out our community, and then we're going to check how we're relating to the goals that we have, and then finally adjust and keep repeating that. But today we're taking things the next step, and I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm actually recording myself on a computer at the same time. No idea how this is going to work, but I'm assuming that my goal here is to put these on maybe YouTube. Have no idea. Right now the focus is on the podcast and what's coming out. So where we left off last week or yesterday, and what I hope you've done for homework, is you've listed out the things that you're passionate about. You've chosen something there. You also looked at the things that you want to learn, or you have knowledge, or both of those. And then you also took a look at what will make you money. And putting these together, you've decided, okay, here is what I'm going to do for my community. And I said that I wanted to write a book, and that there were going to be 3 of them. And so now we're going to take it to the next step. And we're going to the mission part of our community, which is, what do we envision for our community? What is the purpose of our community? And then we can go forward from there. So I kind of wrote down yesterday for my task, which will be your task today, sort of my vision. So I want to write 3 books, and they're about community, which is what this is, communication chains and solving problems, and process improvement. And I decided that this was going to happen over, say, 12 to 15 year period. Don't know exactly. And that the whole idea is that in 4 years I would roll out a book, talk about it, do tours maybe, sort of type of thing for, say, 4 years. And then at the same time, I'm creating my next book, and I would repeat that 3 times, and I would bring the community over from the community book over to solving problems book to over to the process improvement. And before I got into all that, I wanted to step back and say, okay, at the end of the day, let's say I was not able to create a community. Remember, we talked about how we should be expressing ourselves, and it should be sort of an art form, to an expression of our art of whatever we want to do when we decide to get into a community. And I decided that the way I wanted to express these books, or this stuff out of me, was through a book, through video, through a podcast, and possibly an NFT. Now, I don't want to do those just because. I chose those for a reason. I believe everybody processes things a little bit differently, so I chose one that would target each of the way that people experience information. So they can either take it in by audio, visual, or audio, visual. Some people are readers rather than watching a video. And I also wanted to throw NFT in there. I'm not quite sure what I was going to do with it yet, but I wanted to leave that open, and I wanted to know how I could create value with that. And I was thinking maybe if I took all 3 books and combine them into one book, and then maybe added to it a 30-minute talk with whoever bought this NFT that was a script of the three. So it would have like the cover art of the books that was unique, and it would have the entire books, all three of them combined, and then maybe adding the value of being able to talk to me for 30 minutes once a month for whoever bought the NFT or NFTs that I minted. So just playing around with that. And that's the art part. And that's probably the most important part, was how could I express this? Because no matter if I'm able to create a community, which is what I really want, or not, then I wanted to be able to still move forward whether or not the community was there. But for the community, the idea was that here's what I wrote out. I wrote out that I want to go into global public speaking, so it'd be cool if I could create a community that enjoyed my books enough that they would actually want me to come talk about them. I would like to sell about 100 books per topic. That's just something that I threw out there. It's arbitrary, nothing special about 100. I just picked a number. But I also wanted to talk about what the purpose was. I mean, what's the purpose of this community? And what I really want to do at the end of it, the major goal, the mission, the vision, after 12 years, or how many years it ends up being, I want to be able to help others build a community, solve problems easier, and to make their lives easier through process improvement, and just to take them to the next level in their areas, whatever that is, in these three things. And finally, from an income perspective, it would just be supplemental. It'd be cool if it was something that I could do full time, but I don't think that's realistic, but who knows? I'm leaving it open, but it'd be cool if I could get a little supplemental income from it. But if all those things failed, as long as I'm expressing myself through these other means, the podcast, book, video, and possibly an NFT, that's what I'm looking for. And the horizon is about 12 to 15 years. So this is sort of what you need to be doing next, is sort of figuring out what is your next, like, what does the vision look like? What's the purpose of this? And then we have to step back and say, okay, now that we have our mission and vision, we have to go back to our original two questions, right? What am I going to get from this? And what am I going to have to put into this? And so by filling out the vision and mission and knowing how we're going to express it, answers the first question. What do I get out of this? An expression of who I am. So now we need to go into the next part, which is, what do I need to put into this? What do I need to put into in order to create a podcast to express the book? What do I need to do in order to create a book, a video, an NFT project? And what does it mean to go out on public tour, to go sell these things, to get the community? So this is sort of myself still starting with ourself, trying to formulate, what am I going to get and what do I need to give? What am I willing to give to get that? And really self-assessing that by those two questions will help us set up the framework before we get into others, because from this extension of who we are and understanding what we're trying to gain from it and what we're going to put into it will help us understand, is this even going to last in the long term? And knowing that this is going to be 12 to 15 years worth of work, is that something I really want to put into this? Which then makes me think, and this may go a little bit over on the time, the 10 minutes I'm looking for, it made me start thinking sort of all the communities that I'm involved in. Is this the community that I want to start? And do I have enough time for this community? And if not, am I willing to maybe disengage or change my role in a community. And that really needs to take into consideration when we're thinking about what do I have to put into this community that I'm trying to create. So that's the questions that we need to start asking ourselves in the second part is, what does this look like when we do this? At the end of the day, your task now, to summarize, is to come up with what is your timeline, what does it look like when you've accomplished something, like when this is done at the very end, what have you accomplished, like what can you envision have accomplishing through this community or through this art that you're expressing yourself through. And what do you get from this? Hopefully, the expression of yourself. And what do you need to put into that in order to make that happen? Maybe we don't need to get into the details quite yet, but just getting a good understanding of maybe how the question relates to communities that you're already in. How does it relate with your family? How does it relate with all the different communities? So right now I have my family community, my running community, I have the events community, the coaching community, so all these different communities, and then starting up this community. Do I have the time for that? Do I need to alter some of my other communities? And just understanding that will help us understand what the cost benefit is. So you need to assess that for yourself, for your own community. So that's where I'm going to leave it today on this topic. And then tomorrow, going into episode 7, we will take it to the next step, and we will keep taking these small chunks. Just another thing I know this is now longer than 10 minutes, but I just wanted to really add this one last thing. We are taking small bits of information and steps so that we keep moving. And the idea is to just make small steps and make progress bit by bit. And then we will see if we take action every day, small pieces of action over time, even after the end of a month, we will see that we will have accomplished a lot, and it's really minimal. I mean, we're talking, you're listening to the previous podcast and maybe this one's being the longest at 12 minutes. Imagine spending, while you're listening to me, you're doing these tasks, you're spending maybe 30 minutes or maybe an hour at each of these tasks. Now, if that hour seems too much now, then you may need to reassess whether or not you want to be in this, to start this community, because in the end, when we start getting going, we're probably going to have to spend more than an hour on some days trying to get our community up and running. So just keep that in perspective. If time seems to be an issue, do you really want to do this? Is this something that you want to step forward with? So I'm going to leave it at that for today, and really hope that this was an easy task for you. And again, please reach out to me and engage with me on angeloruns.nlr on Instagram, and share your experience and share the project that you're working on. And I'd be interested to walk this journey with you. So until tomorrow, have a great day.